The Secret of the Rosary by St. Louis de Montfort. 10th Rose. Miracles obtained through the Rosary. When St. Dominic was preaching the Rosary in Carcassonne, a heretic poked fun at the miracles and the 15 mysteries of the Rosary. His ridicule hindered the conversion of heretics. As punishment, God permitted 15,000 devils to possess the man. His parents then brought him to Father Dominic to be freed from all these malicious spirits. Father Dominic began to pray and ask everyone there to say the Rosary out loud with him. At each Hail Mary, Our Lady drove 100 devils out of this heretic's body, and they came out in the form of red-hot coals. After the man was freed from the malicious spirits, he renounced his errors, was converted, and joined the confraternity of the Rosary. Several of his coreligionists did the same, having been greatly moved by his punishment and the power of the Rosary. The learned Carthagena of the Order of St. Francis, as well as several other authors, records the following event. In 1482, the Venerable James Springer and some other members of the Franciscan order were working zealously to re-establish the devotion to the Rosary and to set up a confraternity in Cologne. Two well-known preachers became jealous of the great fruits Springer and his confreres were achieving by this practice. So they sought to discredit it by their sermons. Since they were talented and highly thought of, they succeeded in dissuading many people from joining the confraternity. One of these preachers, the better to gain his wicked end, prepared a special sermon against the Rosary, and was going to give it the following Sunday. When the time came for the sermon, he never showed up. After some waiting around, people went looking for him and found him dead. Apparently, he had died all alone, and no one had been there to help him. The other preacher convinced himself that his friend's death had been due to natural causes, so he resolved to make up for his friend's absence by putting an end to the confraternity of the Rosary. The day came for him to preach, and when it was time for the sermon, God punished him with paralysis that left him without the use of his arms and legs and without his power of speech. Finally, acknowledging his error and that of his friend, he had recourse in his heart to the Blessed Virgin, promising her to preach the Rosary as forcefully as he had fought against it. To this end, he implored her to restore his health and speech, and the Blessed Virgin granted him his petition. Finding himself suddenly cured, he rose up like another Saul, turning from a persecutor into a defender of the Rosary. He made public reparation for his error and preached the excellence of the Holy Rosary with zeal and eloquence. I have no doubt that the free thinkers and critics of our day who read the narratives in this little book will question their authenticity, just as they have always done. Yet the narratives come from very good contemporary authors and, in part, from a book written a short time ago, The Mystical Rosary by Father Antonin Thomas, O.P. Everyone knows there are 3 different kinds of faith to be given to different kinds of narratives. To narratives of Holy Scripture, we owe divine faith. To secular narratives that are not inconsistent with reason and are written by good authors, we owe human faith. To pious narratives by good authors and not contrary to reason or faith and good morals, even though sometimes they deal with extraordinary matters, we owe pious faith. I know we should be neither too credulous nor too critical, and should hold the middle in all things to find the point of truth and virtue. But I also know that charity easily leads us to believe all that is not contrary to faith or good morals. Charity believes all things. 1 Corinthians chapter 13 verse 7. Whereas pride easily leads us to deny almost all well authenticated narratives on the pretext they are not in Holy Scripture. Such pretext is one of the devil's snares. Heretics who deny tradition have fallen into it, and critics of our time are falling into it unawares. These critics refuse to believe what they do not understand or what is not to their liking. They are motivated by pride and a distorted view of their own mind's sufficiency.